Okay, good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m., October the 3rd, 2022. Time to call the Franklin City Council meeting to order. Ms. Rhodes, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Austin?
Here.
Mr. Puckett?
Here.
Ms. McGinnis?
Here.
Ms. Nally?
Here.
Mr. Pine?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Brian Reese with prayer and pledge, please.
I invite you to join me. Our Father, we come to you this evening just thankful and grateful for another day to be alive and another meeting in this city hall. We just want to pray that you would be with everything that takes place as we welcome new members to the team of the police department, fire department, as we honor heroes in our community. We pray that it would all just be good with them and their families as they serve here in this city. We thank you for them. We pray for all the rest of the agenda items tonight, that all would go well and that good decisions would be made for this city. And we do want to remember this evening those who are dealing with the aftermath of the hurricane down in Florida, who have lost some, maybe even just property. And I know the heartbreak of dealing with that, but even for those who may have lost a loved one, we just want to pray for them, that you would comfort and help them in their time of loss, grief, and need. And we know you will. Be with the rest of this evening. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, it looks like tonight, under announcements, presentations, and public comment, we got a pretty big agenda right there. So we're going to start right off with swearing in of a new firefighter, Jared Wilson, and Fire Chief Matt Cole.
I'm not kidding. Gotta come down here so you get out way all the pictures. Otherwise, I hope you know.
Constitution of the State of Indiana. Rules and regulations of the Franklin Fire Department. I swear to obey all lawful orders. Of my superior officers. Faithfully discharge the duties. Of my position to the best of my ability. Congratulations, sir. We want you to stick it with that badge. Okay, next, we have two police officers that
Getting down there on you guys.
You want a picture? We have Caleb Sanders. Caleb. Raise your right hand. I, Caleb Sanders.
I, Caleb Sanders,
A member of the Franklin, Indiana Police Department.
a member of the Franklin, Indiana Police Department,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
all of my official duties.
all my official duties.
Congratulations, sir. I gotta say it, go ahead. Steve. Gotta be fair to everyone, right? First time, that's why I said it. That's it.
They're thick.
He'll sure to resign to stop a bullet. And now we have police officers that the chief wants to give an award to, and well deserved. So, the floor is yours, chief. Sir.
So real quick, before we get started, I'd like the deputy chief, read the letter that pertained to this particular incident. Before we get to that point, I just want to say, thanks to the new officers, we're really blessed at the police department with this last group of young officers. And this is a true testament just to that. The two individuals that got sworn in this evening, they've been working really hard to get where they need to be and move fast. So as Deputy Chief and I were talking earlier, it's extremely humbling to be here, and we're really proud of our department, so thank you guys.
I'm going to share with you the letter that was submitted to the administration by Officer Cochran and Officer Hamilton's supervisor, Lieutenant Edgar Lucas. Chief Cochran, it's my duty and my pleasure to draw attention to the recent heroic actions of Officer Corey Hamilton and Officer Kirby Cochran Jr. On the night of 9/12/22, Officer Corey Hamilton and Officer Kirby Cochran Jr. responded to Franklinville Apartments on a report of an apartment on fire. The caller advised that smoke was coming from under the door. The door was hot and did not get an answer from the resident. The caller further advised that the resident apartment is on oxygen. Officer Hampton was the first to arrive, and when he did not get an answer from the door, he immediately began to kick the door open. He was joined by Officer Cochran. After forcing the door open, Officers Hamilton and Cochran were initially driven back by way of intense heat and thick smoke. As they again approached, they observed a couch on fire just beside the door. Officer Hamilton used his handheld fire extinguisher to put out the flames, after which they could discern the body of the resident on the floor. Officer Cochran then entered the smoke-filled apartment and pulled the resident out. Once outside, Officers Hampton and Cochran observed the victim was alive, but was unconscious and gasping. They initiated CPR and attended to the victim until medics and the fire department arrived a few minutes later. The victim was eventually transported to Eskenazi Hospital in Indianapolis, where he was treated for his injuries. In light of their brave and timely actions, I recommend the City of Franklin and the Franklin Police Department officially and publicly recognize Officers Hamilton and Cochran for their heroism and professionalism in service of their community. Sincerely, Lieutenant Edgar Lucas. So we are presenting these plaques to 12, 2022. Your quick and decisive actions demonstrate commitment and compassion for the citizens you serve. Franklin Police Department is honored to present you with the Life Saving Award for Outstanding Police Performance, presented this day, October 3rd, 2022. Sir, thank you.
Which one's Junior? Which one's Junior? Far side, Beard. I think. Remember so when it was sworn in.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other announcements, presentations, or public comment that's not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we will close that portion. We are now ready for the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I know these folks are all here for the budget, but they usually are free to leave
So,
if you wish.
no, I'm thinking tonight they all need to
They
stay.
need to sit. All right. They're trying to be nice.
When you do this one here about the consent agenda or the approval of minutes, how do you state that other than saying approve as written? You have someone that review person asks.
Good stuff.
How do you normally say?
Like, you move to approve?
Yeah, but not to say you move to approve, you say, as someone has the opportunity to.
Do I say last name first? Yeah, just, has everyone looked at them, reviewed them? That's what I meant. I
I know
mean,
you did it one time.
so like,
and it was
I would look
fall.
at this as Madison's spot. Yeah, did everyone get a chance to review the minutes? Do you have any revisions?
Okay.
That's what I said.
Whatever you said the other, I don't know, a few meetings ago, you like nailed it. I was like, that's it. That's what I should be saying. It's like, and you've done this.
I'm like in contact with the artist, and we sketched out our designs.
Okay, I think we'll go ahead to the consent agenda. That's where we're at.
Mayor, I'm going to ask the council if they've had any revisions to the consent agenda for minutes of September 19th. If not, move to approve. As written.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I believe Sean was the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll go on to old business. There isn't any, so we'll go right into new business. And
Move
also,
to read new business by title only, Mayor.
Second.
we have a second by Mrs. McGinnis. New business, first item has to do also with our police department. Common Council Resolution Number 22-25, ratifying Franklin Police Merit Commission's proposed lateral officer hiring system. Police Merit Attorney Bill Barrett and City Attorney Lynn Gray. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. It seems odd to be on new business because for those of us who've been working on this, it feels very much like old business. But knowing that there are some new members of the council, this is a good time to go through things before we ask for passage of the resolution. And before I begin, I'd note that Merit Commission President Dr. Schaefer is with us tonight. And of course, Chief Cochran and Deputy Chief Summers are here as well. And all of them have had a lot of involvement in putting this together. So by way of background, the city, of course, has a merit system of hiring new police officers and has had for 30 years. In the last couple of years, this city, like every jurisdiction in the country, has faced challenges in recruiting new officers because of some of the social issues that have percolated around the country. That led to a discussion of trying to leaven the staff at the department with experienced officers and still keep a merit system of hiring. And pursuant to your authorization last year, when you amended your ordinance to allow for the hiring of lateral officers, meaning experienced officers, we've spent the last several months putting together this proposal for you, and I'd like to walk through what the elements of it are, and then I'll be happy to take your questions. First, the qualifications for someone to be hired as a lateral or experienced officer are the same as far as background and physical exam and mental exam and physical health as they are for a new officer. None of that is being abbreviated by this process. The process itself is being abbreviated to remove the requirement of a written exam, because people have already passed a written exam if they're already merit officers. People will still have to pass a physical agility test. People will still have to go through interviews with the commission before any hiring decision is made. They also have to have at least a year, preferably more, perhaps, depending on circumstance, but at least a year of time in grade, as well as having completed and received either their ILEA graduation, the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy graduation, or if they're coming from out of state, having gotten the certification that ILE grants for officers from other states. They have to have a license. The purpose of that is to save the city the 16 weeks of salary that you spend every time you send a new officer to the academy. The academy doesn't charge for people to go who are on police departments already, but they go as employees. And so with this expense out of the way, you've bought yourself a quarter of a year's time of salary. If you'd scroll up just a little bit, I'd like everybody to see this. If you'd scroll, or sorry, to farther down in the document. Sorry, there you go. The chief is to notify the Merit Commission when there's a vacancy that the chief wishes to have filled by a lateral process as opposed to a new hire. Because your new hire process that's been in place for years will continue on. And then it'll be up to the Merit Commission whether to allow or to grant the chief's request to hire an experienced officer as opposed to a new officer. And the reason for having the decision vested at the Merit Commission rather than at the level of the chief is to preserve the merit selection idea. It is the Merit Commission that hires officers. And so it's incumbent on the chief, any chief, to say to the Merit Commission, here's why I would like you to consider appointing an experienced officer to this slot. Here are my reasons. And then the Merit Commission votes. We think that's an important element of preserving, as I said, preserving the merit system and the ideas underlying it. If the Merit Commission decides, yes, we'll fill this slot with an experienced officer, then it's incumbent on the chief to say, okay, here are all the applications I've gotten of people who have passed the baseline exams. Their background exam is still okay. Physical exam is still passed. Again, letting the Merit Commission make the decision from this applicant pool rather than having a chief determine this is the applicant pool I'd like you to look at. So only those baseline qualifications, and then the Merit Commission will have to review them. If we find ourselves lucky enough to have 20 people applying for one job or 50 people applying for one job, they may send me back here to tweak that. But for now, we have 3 or 4. And as we start out in this, and it's an iterative process, we all have acknowledged that, this again allows the Merit Commission to drive the decision with the chief facilitating it. And as far as the chief's facilitation, the chief is to may and will, I'm sure, make recommendations. Okay, here's the group of officers I gave you, experienced officers, to hire to fill this slot. I like this one, and this one. And the Merit Commission will take that into account, just as is done by statute with promotions. Promotions are not done by right off the top of a list, unlike new hires. Promotions, the chief is to ask, I really need a shortstop, and this person's the shortstop, and it's analogous here, the way we've set it up.
Nice.
People will come in upon hiring with the rank of an officer with the rank of an officer. They will not come in with rank, meaning sergeant, lieutenant, captain. They'll come in only as an officer, and they will come in at the salary of an officer. And people will know that, and they'll make their decisions about whether to apply or not based on that. We have built in the idea that you all, as the council, may, in a given instance or a given set of circumstances, say, we really need to incentivize people to come. And of course, you have that authority without the Merit Commission telling you that. But by putting it into the rules, we are saying to the world at large, this is not something for the Merit Commission to decide. It's not something for the chief to decide.
No.
And so if you want to apply here as a lateral officer, here's what you get.
Yeah.
And it's, again, up to the legislative body to make any changes. Last couple of points. The lateral officers will go through a field training program, even though they won't be going to the Law Enforcement Academy. We anticipate that most of the people who get hired in this will have already been through a field training program. But to use my baseball analogy again, just because somebody's a great shortstop doesn't mean they're a great shortstop on this team. And so they need some time being trained to fit into this team. And we've got that set as 3 months if they've already filled or already completed one. And last, just as with new hires, people who come here will be probationary for the first year. That means that the Merit Commission, on request of the chief, without a hearing, without any due process rights for the officer, can terminate someone if the chief does not like the way they're working out, just as is the case with all your new hires. That will have a screening effect. People who are perhaps wanting to move to put their past behind them, not likely to come to a place where they're giving up their due process rights that they have in their current employment, because they're coming here and spending a year with no due process rights. So we think this is a way to ensure that the people who come, A, really want to be here, and are people who are confident in the work they're going to do for the city, such that they'll be people that we really want. So that's my outline. I'm happy to discuss it further if anyone has questions.
Any questions for Bill?
Judge Barrett, I don't have any questions other than it's a great day today. This is something that this council has talked about and addressed and talked about even more, and I really appreciate your efforts and what you've done and what you've brought to this council. I think it's a great day for the Franklin Police Department. I think it works well with the Merit Commission. I think it's fair. I think it's a good starting point as well, like you'd mentioned. So I just think it's an exciting day for the city.
Thank you, Mr. Austin.
And we can take action on this tonight.
Yes, sir, I was getting ready to say, if you recall, the council previously authorized the Merit Commission to go back, and we did that by amending the ordinance at that point.
Yes.
Bill and I had lengthy conversations about what's the best way to approach this and make sure we're following all the law. So you previously authorized the Merits Board to devise a resolution to create the lateral hire system. This is their report back to you, and so now what we will do is we'll have a resolution adopting their proposed lateral system as set forth. So it is ready. It's a long-winded way of saying it's ready for action.
I do have one last comment on Ms. Gray's point. If you look at the very last line above the signature lines of your resolution, a little towards the top, towards the top. Paragraph 2, right there. As I said, it's likely to be an iterative process over the course of time, but paragraph 2 provides that any further revisions to what the outline is that we have here will require your authorization again. The Merit Commission won't be out on its own.
Makes sense.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'll move for approval of Common Council Resolution 22-25.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, and Irene got the second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Okay, next item. Next item is a two-part, two-resolution item, and it is Common Council Resolution Number 22-20, the ERA Confirmatory GMI Corporation. The second part would be the Common Council Resolution Number 22-21, GMI Corporation Personal Property Tax Abatement Community Development Specialist Dana Monson will walk us through this.
Good evening. As you will recall, at our last meeting, I presented a resolution for an economic revitalization area designation for GMI Corporation. You approved that resolution. So tonight, as the mayor said, I am before you requesting two things. The first thing that we need to do is to have a public hearing, required public hearing, and a vote for a confirmation of that economic revitalization area for GMI Corporation. High level, they are going to be adding some new equipment to their processes that will be expanding further on their abilities and the sectors that they can work with. They are also going to be hiring 7 new employees. Once we're through the ERA designation, Mr. Jeff Osler is here with GMI. He can come up and give you some further details of the actual application request and what they are doing. And also Mr. Taylor was at our ERA meeting, and he can further give you any other information that you need. So step one is we do need to have our public hearing for this economic revitalization area.
Okay, so at this time, I will open this up for public hearing for Resolution Number 22-20, the ERA Confirmatory GMI Corporation. So it's open for public hearing. Anyone have any questions or any comments? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing.
And now we're ready for your vote on the economic revitalization area confirmatory.
Which is 22-20, I believe.
Yep.
Yes, correct.
Move to approve 22-20.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. The second was by Irene. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to the second portion of this.
As I said, GMI came before us and they were requesting a 7-year tax abatement on $2,700,000 in personal property equipment. They are planning to add 7 new employees at $18 an hour average wage, which eventually comes up to about $24 an hour once they are fully trained up and running. They are amenable to the 5% economic development agreement tax. And Mr. Osler is here tonight. So Jeff, if you would like to just come up, just tell us just a little bit about why this equipment is needed for your company.
He has a lot of courage wearing that Colts hat after yesterday.
I don't have a choice because I had just recently had surgery, so
Okay.
whatever hat I have
That makes me
morning.
feel even worse.
GMI is a 100% employee-owned contract manufacturer specializing in the medical device manufacturing as well as RF connectors and various other industry, including aerospace and military use. We don't make anything that we sell. We make it for other people. A year ago, actually almost exactly a year ago in October, we were looking for a solution for a product that we've been making for 20 plus years, and we found one in St. Louis. It's an engineered rotary machine. It will take the capacity that currently we use for 7 machines, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and be able to complete the same amount of work in 2 shifts, 5 days a week. Wow. Which is impressive, yes, absolutely. But the more impressive thing is we're going to free up 7 additional machines that we're using now for additional capacity, which is going to open up our market. A few months ago, we bought the property we're currently in. We bought the 2 acres next door, 1.78 acres. So we're looking to expand and we're looking to grow GMI, and this is a great opportunity for us to be part of Franklin and help grow our employment.
And sir, you've been here how many years?
GMI has been here for 17 years, I believe.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that on the
Yeah.
record. So any questions? I don't think we have to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to open it up for public hearings. Is there any questions on the tax abatement or? So it's open public hearing. Seeing nobody move forward, we're going to close the public hearing.
Thank you.
And any questions here, or if not, we're ready for action.
Mr. Mayor, I do want to clarify that the original request was for a 7-year abatement. The EDC did recommend to you a 5-year abatement that is a little bit more consistent with what we normally do for the investment, number of jobs and salaries.
And a 5% economic development fee,
Yes, ma'am.
correct?
Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Mr. Prine.
If I might.
Yes, ma'am.
The application's 7 years, yours at motion is for 5 years with a 5% development fee, correct?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, sir. Motion carries. Okay, next item. It's a little bit the same way. It's a two-part item here, resolution. Common Council Resolution Number 22-23, the ERA Confirmatory Cold Summit. The second part of that, Common Council Resolution Number 22-24, Cold Summit Tax Abatement Real Property Community Development Specialist Dana Monson.
Yes, this is essentially the kind of the same thing that we just did. Cold Summit Development is a company that is new to the state of Indiana. We're very excited that they chose Franklin and want to come here and work. Mr. Joe South is here. He will be up shortly to give you some more details of their project. But essentially, again, this property that you can see up there is a 36 acres. It is run is bordered on the south and the west by Graham and on the north side by Earlywood Drive. To give you an idea of where the location is, it's about, as I said, 36 acres. They are proposing to build a 350,000 square foot cold storage facility. They will be investing $70 million into this project. In lieu of doing the typical 2% EDA fee, or EDA fee that we normally have, they would like to propose that they are going to be giving a percentage of their profits every year from this property to the school board. They will be going specifically to the Franklin Education Corporation, so their corporation, I think that's what it is, FEC, so that they will be able to provide needed things for the schools that perhaps maybe sometimes tax dollars don't always go far enough to do. So again, to begin this, the first thing that we need to do is to request a public hearing on the ERA designation, followed by a vote for that confirmatory.
Okay, so moved. At this time, we will open this up for ERA confirmatory resolution, so open it up for public hearing. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. And now I think we need a motion to approve the ERA resolution number 22-23.
So moved.
Second.
Man, I'm going to give that one to Sean.
A little louder.
Yeah, a little louder. There's a tie.
I was
Sean was a little-
closer, I was closer to the mic.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, we will go on to the next part of this, Common Council Resolution 22-24, Cold Summit Tax Abatement Real Property. Dana Monson.
Yes, as I said, they did come before us. They requested a 10-year tax abatement, and the EDC does feel that that is an appropriate number of years for this project. As I said, they're cold storage. They're a fairly young company. I would like to ask Mr. South to come up now. He can give you a little bit more details about the project itself and a little bit about the company since they're new here. So, take it away, Joe.
I got to admit, I'm a little bit disappointed. When I saw a packed house, I thought everybody was just really excited about cold storage. But just a quick intro about Cold Summit and about our project. As Dana mentioned, we are a young company. We're only about 3 years old and only about 20 employees, but we have a number of projects that are already in the works, and we're very excited to have the opportunity to work with you all here in your community to have another successful project. If we just, I'll go through some of these slides pretty quickly and then happy to answer any questions. And for those of you who are here for the EDC meeting, apologize if you get to hear the whole thing again. Mr. Taylor, sorry about that. Yeah, we can just go to the next slide really quickly. I'll do some overview on our company really quickly here. Can we go to the next one, please? We got a few more here. Right here, our mission, we only do one product type. We do cold storage. Cold storage, there's a lot of development going on in and around the country right now. Lots of people trying to do it because it's a very popular product type that there's a shortage of it across the country, and you got a lot of players trying to build the hot new thing. We have an experienced team who's been doing nothing but this product type for 20 plus years. I spoke with Mayor Barnett and with the staff, and some of the questions came up are, how can you at Cold Summit execute on projects right now when so many other companies say they can't make things pencil? And it really just comes down to our experience and our relationships. Relationships are probably the biggest theme, just to let you know about who we are and what we want you to know about Cold Summit. If you go to the next slide, please. We put this up front kind of to challenge ourselves, because anytime you hear folks in real estate development talk about love, it kind of raises some eyebrows. Our founder started our company just based on what he wanted to do in the real estate world, how he wanted to conduct business the right way, and how he wanted to address a way of doing business that he frankly didn't see. Everybody who joins the company really believes in our core principles, and we bring that to every relationship that we have with our contractors, with any of our partners, and with every community where we form a relationship and we build. It's really, really very important to us. It's not something that you see in the real estate world, frankly. There are a lot of contentious ideas about how real estate development should be done, and it's very important for us that you all understand that we are here to be partners and to listen and to really understand your community before we make any decisions. Can we go to the next slide? Here's another thing that's important to our company is, like I said, we have 21 employees right now, and 7 of us are veterans. I got to say, I thought it was incredibly special. I go to a fair number of city council meetings, and what we just saw here, bringing new folks onto the police department and the fire department, and then having a public awards ceremony. I've seen a number of award ceremonies and promotions from my days in the military, and I can tell you, like, that kind of public acknowledgement is just a testament to your community. It's really special. So I felt lucky to be present for that. That was great. A couple more slides here. What Dana mentioned, our philanthropy. One note, she said 5% of profit. What we actually commit to is 5% of our top line revenue, even before profits. Every dollar we make, whether that's off development fees, that's off of rents, We have a long-term plan to own our properties, but should we sell, 5% of the value of that sale, everything 5% off the top goes back to education in the community. And that's another example where listening and really understanding what the priorities of the community are, where that comes in. Because we don't say how that money's going to be used. We want to listen to you all and understand what your critical needs are so that any dollars we dedicate to the community get put to the best use. And then I think, here's an example of some of our other projects that we have in areas around the country. Part of the importance of what we call the larger cold chain is we want to be close to where food is produced, be close to where population centers are, and also close to the ports, because that's how food moves around the globe. We're going to see some very interesting and possibly negative things as the winter comes up about the global food supply. If y'all haven't read about this yet, there's a lot of concern because Ukraine produces a lot of grain. So it's going to be very interesting and very concerning to see, you know, how food is able to move, because we're going to have production shortages. So that's just one example of how important cold storage provides an opportunity for food to get to the places it needs to without a lot of loss. So it's something we pay attention to and we care very, very deeply about. And I think the next slide is actually, here, this is the site plan. So as Dana mentioned, it's on the intersection of Graham Road and Earlywood Drive. Just for context here, north is to the right. So we are standing right where you see the pond on the left side of that. That's the south, yeah. And then you can see our building. We have it modeled at around 350,000 square feet, and this shows you the thing that we do that is not common for cold storage. We subdivide it into smaller spaces, and we do what's called a speculative build. So we don't have tenants for this yet. And a lot of times, because cold storage is it's capital intensive, it's very expensive, and it's very risky, usually what you have to have happen is you find a site, you get control of the land, and then you go out and you shop it to big companies like Amazon or Walmart who need cold storage space. But we feel that this product type is so critical that there are other businesses that would be able to use this space effectively. And by subdividing, it is riskier because we don't have any tenants yet. But what this allows is mid-sized businesses or growing businesses who are moving up from paying by the pallet, or they're ready to control their own supply chain. This puts a range of jobs and a range of companies into a space that is feasible for them. So that's part of how our larger vision of growing the local economy here in Franklin really ties back to the tax abatement program. Because in the end, as the builder and as the landlord, we don't get the tax abatements. The whole idea is the tax abatement program will allow, again, young companies or growing companies to have a strategic advantage here and then be able to bring more jobs into your community. So that's really what it's all about for us, is we want to build the best facility possible, and we want to be able to go out to the market and have the widest range of high quality tenants in here who can create long lasting jobs in the community. I do have other slides, but that's kind of the gist of it right now. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just want to make a comment, and Dana, you may be getting ready to do this, but another part of this company here, Dana, or Krista, if you want to go back to the map on Graham Road, as part of our master plan to lengthen, to take Graham Road straight on over to Earlywood, that's in our master plan, and this would fit into it. And Cold Summit is going to partner with us on the road that will be used for public and their business access. It's about a $1 million road, and they are going to commit with a economic development agreement of $500,000 to pay half of that road to get to their property. So that's a good commitment, I think, to show that you are interested in our community and helping out with our road system.
And I'll just say that not every community has the kind of strategic vision and focus on infrastructure that we have clearly seen here in Franklin. Going along with what I said about, you know, it's great how you were recognizing your public servants here in public in front of everybody. You know, the mayor shared with us some details when we were talking about the project that no businesses downtown closed during COVID. To us, that spoke volumes about how committed you all are to each other and to the growth and the stability of this community. And the investment in infrastructure is just another data point there that shows this is the kind of place that we want to be partners.
And just to clarify, the S-turn on Graham will not be taken out because there's still local traffic there that would mainly be local traffic, and the heavy traffic will go straight off of Graham onto Earlywood. So,
Dana, have you thought through, certainly,
Yes.
it's different in terms of, thank you, I was going to ask the question, is it 5% off gross, which makes the accounting much easier? And thank you, we like gross numbers, not net, that's nice. But have you thought through how, because it's a bit different that it doesn't come to us, but, and I'm quite sure the school won't look the gift horse in the mouth, but we would probably need some kind of interlocal or some kind of an agreement or something at some point.
At some point, correct, yes.
For the school to accept the donation so that these folks can qualify for the requirements, assuming council approves this, that they can qualify those requirements. So that's going to have to be another step that we don't normally do.
Yes, I think what we really need to determine, and it's probably more, really, it's probably up to the schools, do they want those funds to go directly into the Franklin Education Connection or go directly to them? Tina Gross, our CFO, has been at these meetings. She was at some of the others. Actually, Dr. Clendenning was here last meeting, so he heard some of this as well. So they know it's coming, and I know that they'll be happy to work with this. But you're absolutely correct. That was also something that we asked about with our attorney, Mr. Shafstall, was where is the most appropriate place. Mr. Taylor knows we had that discussion at that meeting as well. So, yeah, I don't know,
Yeah.
Sean, if you have any comments on that or.
No, I mean, it's kind of to be continued once if it's approved and go from there, because they'll know better where the money needs to go than we probably do.
I just want to protect, if we grant it and we give them that and they're willing to do it, I don't want them to get hung up on, I'm sure the school will take it.
Yes,
but,
I'm sure they will.
Make sure that we're not making them promise something they can't do.
Yeah, thank you.
And one other thing that we did discuss while we were there, it is a little bit different with the cold storage as far as wages. Just because, like I know they said warehouse out there by the interstate is about $6 to $8 more just because of, working in the cold temperatures and things like that. So it's not your typical warehouse job. It's actually going to be a higher paying job in the long run by working in the cold storage.
And I also believe, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, Joe, but because of the way that they're doing it, with it being split up, it could also be used for medical, vaccine storage, all of these things. So it's actually a little bit broader than what we're used to hearing. We are, very familiar with cold storage through Interstate Warehousing. They do a fantastic job, but they are solely focused on food. Their model allows it to actually branch out to a little bit wider audience, wider sectors for potential clients.
Dana, I have one more request, and you know that I love to do this. When we talk about tax abatements, the public gets the wrong impression on what tax abatements are. Can you kind of walk through how much money that will be coming in and how much money is going to be paid by the new company?
Absolutely. Let me find my notes so I get my right terminology here. When you look at this property, it is currently farm ground. That's all it's ever been. Currently, right now, when it's coming in, we get $1,600 a year, $1,660 per year coming into our tax base for, thank you, Krista, for that property. If nothing was done, no development was taking place, at the end of 10 years, we would have collected $16,603, which would pay for maybe a quarter of a wheel of the truck that we talked about earlier through the fire department for their ladder truck. So not a whole lot, but it's there. With this abatement, including that abatement, we will be approximately $11,617,000 that will be coming into our property. When we have those kinds of increases in our assessed values, and when we have those kinds of increases in the amount that comes in, it spreads the cost for everyone. It helps to keep our tax base lower for our residents. It helps to allow us to continue to provide the same quality services and above quality services that we always have, because it does allow the mayor to build another road that he likes to do. But yes, sir, so you can see at the end of 20 years that the abatement will roll off. At the end of 10 years, at the end of 20 years, we're over $32 million, or 20 years, I'm sorry, we'll be at over $32 million that will have been collected from this. They start paying this. Once it's assessed, it's done. As he said, it was speculative. It doesn't matter if there's tenants in there or not. These real property taxes are paid. They continue to be paid, whether that building is vacant or full. But we are very confident that that will be filled very quickly. I think Mr. South is completely right. We're hearing it, all over the place about the need for cold storage. And again, with his model and what his company is doing and the success that they've already seen with this, I don't think it's going to sit there empty very long.
And all those dollars are TIF'd, correct?
They will be. Krista, is that correct? This is going to be part of, we're doing a new TIF district, so we will be collecting that. Yes.
So we don't have to open this one up for a public hearing, I don't believe, but I
You don't need
always
to, but
like
you usually do. Yeah.
I like to do that. If anybody has any questions for Cold Summit, I hope hearing those numbers of 32,000 and, or 32 million and 11 million, I hope it don't scare you off, so. I mean, wow. So anyway, it's open for public hearing. Seeing no one move, I'm closing the public hearing. So any more questions or comments from the council?
Well, I'll move to approve Resolution 2224.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Mr. Taylor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Pay for a bond issue.
Hearing none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
Thanks for coming.
Welcome to the community.
Okay, next item, Common Council Budgetary Resolution Number 22-10, authorizing a transfer from Police Capital 400 to Police Services 300 in the amount of $20,000. Police Chief Kirby Cochran. I believe Kirby is left.
Defaulted to me.
Okay, Mrs. Rhodes. Ms. Rhodes, thank you.
Tis the end of the year when we're moving money from one line item to the next. So this is just moving money from their 400 capital to their 300.
No new appropriation, right?
Correct.
Ready for action. Right.
So we can take action on this tonight. The 400 series is usually where we buy police cars, and we spoke with Brett Jones, our fleet manager, this morning, and he's taken care of for this year, so he does not have any issues. If I'm speaking out of line, please speak up, Brett.
No, you're right. Correct.
Okay, thank you. And we are ready for action on this one.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve Common Council Budgetary Resolution 22-10.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, and Mr. Prine was closest to the microphone, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, thank you, Jane. We'll go on to the next one. This one is introduction only, so we'll go through this one pretty quick. We are introducing Common Council Budgetary Ordinance Number 22-22, an additional appropriation Park Impact Fund capital in the amount of $143,000. Park Superintendent Chip Warner.
I believe this is the third time I've been before you to do an additional appropriation from this fund. It's got to do, just a reminder that these are park impact fees that are currently being collected. Since I last saw you, we've collected $143,000 more. I believe I think it was about 4 meetings ago that we did this. So in that meantime, in 2 months, we've collected 143. The money is still going to be used toward the closing up of the project for the amphitheater, so.
And it's introduction only. If there's any questions, you can ask now or ask next week.
And remember, those impact fees just come from lots that are developed, the developer pays them.
That's correct.
And they are restricted in the types of uses that we can do, and amphitheater qualifies.
That is correct.
Thank you, Chip.
See you in 2 weeks. Thanks.
Okay, next item, Common Council appointment to the Redevelopment Commission, replacing Ken Austin, Community Development Director Krista Linke.
Good evening. You should have gotten the reservation form that shows you the list of current Redevelopment Commission members. And so Ken Austin, with moving to the Board of Works, has resigned from the Redevelopment Commission, and so we are looking for a replacement. And that appointment, that comes from you all, the city council. And so we are looking for, it can be a city council member or it can be a city resident, so.
Mayor, I would like to throw my name in the hat for that.
Okay, if you're addressing me, that's great, but tell the council.
Oh, okay, council.
Yeah, because it is a council appointment, but yes, I understand. Is there anyone else that would,
You'll have to go off telecommunications.
Hmm?
You'll have to go off telecommunications.
Oh, I do?
You'll have to leave telecommunications.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Josh did send me an email and said that he was open to taking the position. I haven't heard from anyone else. Is there anyone else on the council that's interested in the position? Hearing none. Correct me if I'm wrong? To make a
Yes.
motion,
Yeah.
for,
To appoint.
to appoint Josh to the position
of the RDC?
of the RDC as a city council appointment.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a second by Sean. Sean's being quick tonight. So we have a motion and a second to appoint Josh Prine to the Redevelopment Commission. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, congratulations, Josh. And then I think, Ms. Gray, you are on the telecommunications.
Correct.
And Ms. Gray has said that you would have to drop off of that, and that can or does not have to be a council appointment when that time comes. I don't think we need to do that tonight, maybe.
No, our next telecommunications meeting isn't until the end of October. So we'll have time at the next meeting to,
Quite honestly, if I think about this, I think that was my.
I started to say, Mayor, I have to look into it.
Yeah, that was
Josh, I
a
think it was a
mayor
mayoral
appointment.
appointment, so
Yeah.
I don't think it'll require any action. But under the statute, you can only hold, so
Okay.
once you're on RDC, which you can be as a council member, you just aren't compensated as a
Right.
council member. Right.
And I will say, if there's anybody on the council that have any names you want to give me, I'm constantly taking names from people around the city that I see that say I want to get involved. So if you guys have any names I write the names down, a position comes up, then we can ask if anybody's interested. So please feel free to do that. I appreciate it. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Josh, I know you've been to several meetings, but I'll definitely meet with you before and go over all the fun stuff of RDC with you.
And
so.
don't forget the oath.
The oath, all the things.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Krista. Next item, want to bring up city council appointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Ms. Gray.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Phil Barrow has served on our Board of Zoning Appeals since 2008, and he has indicated that he is resigning. He is also on the election board, and there are a lot of obligations for that, and as next year's election's upcoming, he felt it time to resign. So we will need a council appointment, and I'm not asking for one tonight to the BZA, but at the next meeting, if you would, Mr. President, maybe if you could meet with the mayor, and he has, as he said, he has a list of names, and maybe you could look at it, or if any council members have any suggestions for BZA, we can address it at our next meeting.
Sounds good.
I do, this gentleman back here, Bill, you want to come up here, please, and state your name? I know that Bill is one of those, he's a acquaintance that just met in the last 2 or 3 months that told me he wanted to get involved, and he saw this position, and I told him to, if you want to put your name in the hat, come and address the city council. So here you are, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name's Bill Carson. I've been a resident of Franklin for about 6 years now. My wife and I live over on Fiesta Drive. Franklin's been very good to us, and I feel like I have something to offer. I'm an engineer by trade. I work over at the Honda plant in Greensburg. I have a Purdue degree, and I also have a degree from IU, an MBA. I feel like I could benefit your board, so I'd appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Purdue and IU, he's got it all covered.
Yeah, right.
I was worried there at the beginning.
I know, I was
but,
going to say no when he said Purdue, and then I heard IU, and I went, okay.
You rallied there at the end.
is there any questions for Bill, or if there are, or maybe you can look up later if you wish?
Yeah. But it'll be official request next meeting.
Yes. Yeah, and feel free to reach me with any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, there isn't any other business, so we'll go into council member comments, and we'll start down here with Josh.
Well, I just want to thank the council for letting me continue to serve our community on their RDC.
Ann?
Just want to say, I was downtown on Saturday, and I don't think I've ever seen as many people in Franklin as I did on Saturday. I mean, we've had festivals and events for years, but it was wall-to-wall people. It was amazing. So, yeah, it was a good day.
And you took it right out of my mouth. I said it at the Board of Works meeting. I have never seen that many people in any of our events, and even the kickoff to the amphitheater. So, yeah, Franklin was hopping, and a lot of people in town, and thank I think every office of the city was actually, working that day in some fashion. So I thank everybody from CHIPS department, police department, fire department, everybody, and street department, everybody was working together. So it's just happy to see such a big turnout, and it's such a good time, and families everywhere. So kids are having fun.
So you guys tag team that. Are you done, Ann?
Oh,
I'm done.
Sorry. Are you
Oh, yeah,
done?
no, I was
Sorry.
done. No,
Are
you're
you done,
fine.
Ken?
Sorry, yes, Mayor, I apologize. Sorry, Ann.
No apology
need to
needed.
apologize.
No apology needed.
You're fine.
Sorry. John?
Nothing nice, sir.
Nothing tonight? Bob?
Yeah.
Just make a comment about, one of the things that the city's been doing over the last few years has been, I think, successful, is getting people to invest in real estate properties for owner occupied as much as anything else. But in that area where we did the FDC did the work over there on Kentucky Street, and I'm aware of 2 properties that have recently been sold where they're going to get some upgrades, and these aren't the bad properties, but some that could probably use some TLC, and where we're going to get some people living in those and upgrades right there along Yandy Street, where the city's investing a couple million there. So that process is working.
Yes,
And you've been a big part of that, Bob. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
you have.
Irene?
No, nothing for me tonight, sir.
Okay, now I can tell these 3 gals are getting nervous, so we'll start with Ella, and
I'm here. I'm Ella. That's Madison Spock, and that's Taylor Trueblood, and we are part.
last name, Ella?
McGinnis, sorry, Ella McGinnis. And we are part of Franklin Mayor's Youth Leadership Council at Franklin High School, and we're just here to talk about some of the projects that we've been working on.
So right now we're working on our project with the roundabout, and we basically just created a design that we came up with, and we're working with the artist right now to put a sculpture in the middle of the roundabout.
And also working with the engineering firm that's kind of helping you through that.
Yes.
It's a good experience, and the project they're talking about for you that's in the audience that don't know, a roundabout going to be at the high school entrance next year at Commerce and Simon. There's going to be a roundabout there, and the Mayor's Youth Council is working on some kind of, as they just stated, a sculpture to go in the middle to reflect some of to the school, and looking forward to that project. You going to speak? All right, so we're done. Good job. Thank you. So I guess I don't have anything to say. Ms. Gray, do you have anything to say?
I'm not going to follow that act. Are you kidding?
Jane? I think we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Mr. Prine. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So is that guy saying, Mr.
Y'all have a good evening. Eli and Peyton.